Well, the Democrats looking to succeed President Trump are focusing on Iowa this weekend with 3 months to go before voters in the Hawkeye state cast their ballots. A new poll finds Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren in first place among Democratic voters in Iowa. She's followed by Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and Joe Biden. Ed O'Keefe is in Des Moines this morning. Ed, good morning.
Good morning. This weekend is an important turning point on the road to 2020. Some campaigns are shutting down, others are scaling back, and everyone agrees Iowa is critical, which is what made a big event here last night so important.
This is a moment where we have to be prepared to fight for the best of our country.
We can't just win, we have to win big.
A 3-month sprint to the Iowa caucus began with a final gathering of Democratic contenders. With the race tightening, there's a clear contrast between moderates and liberals.
We will fight when we must fight, but I will never allow us to get so wrapped up in the fighting.
At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, the Democratic Party must become the party of the working class of this country.
Shortly before the rally, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, who once said he was born to be in the race, bowed out, failing to break out of the single digits.
We have to clearly see at this point that we do not have the means to pursue this campaign successfully.
Meanwhile, frontrunner Elizabeth Warren finally answered a question that's dogged her for months. How would she pay for her government-backed health care plan?
We can have Medicare for all without raising taxes 1 cent on middle-class families.
Instead, Warren's plan would divert the funds employers currently pay private health care companies to the government and increase taxes on the wealthy with assets above $1 billion.
And it's all fully paid for by asking the top 1% and giant corporations to pay a fair share.
On stage last night, some Warren opponents dismissed her new plans.
For 3% of the cost of Medicare for all, we could cut childhood poverty by 40%. That sounds like a big idea to me.
Build on the Affordable Care Act, not abandon it. That's why we have to provide a public option. That's why we have to make sure everyone has access.
Everyone seems to be driving hard, but the question is, how much of a political gamble is Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for All plan?
Well, it very well could be. You know, you look at polling, for example, that poll that came out just yesterday that suggests that there are more Iowans who would rather live in a country where a government-backed plan is an option than mandatory, that if they wanted to keep their private health care, they'd be able to do so. And that's, you know, a debate that continues among Democrats. So now that she has this payment plan out there, it'll get picked apart by voters, especially in this state. But, you know, for one practical reason, think of this. This city, Des Moines, many of the buildings here are packed during the week with thousands of people who work for insurance companies. And there are questions about what would happen to them, for example, if suddenly private insurance went away and the government was in charge. And that's a question Warren will have to continue answering.
Yeah, Des Moines and Hartford, Ed, both of those big insurance cities. Let's go to Kamala Harris now. News that she's scaling back operations in New Hampshire. So what should we make of this?
Right. Yeah, CBS News has learned that she is parting ways with most of her campaign staff in New Hampshire and moving essentially her entire operation here to the Hawkeye state. Her campaign last month made a pretty bold move, vowing to finish in the top 3 in this state. If that's the case, she's got an uphill climb because right now she's trailing badly behind Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg.
And so much of the talk in Washington is focused on the impeachment inquiry. What are candidates and voters saying on the campaign trail?
Well, you know, they obviously, if you talk to Democrats, are pleased to see it happening, say it should run its course, even if the Senate holds a trial and ultimately decides not to remove the president. We spoke with a few voters last night who said it will not have been a waste of time. It will have been an exercise of the Constitution and something that should play out. But it's going to be a potential practical concern for the 6 senators who are running for president who would have to sit through that impeachment trial and stay off the trail for a few days.
Ed, you look comfortable and in control in Des Moines, but we know it's freezing, so go get some hot coffee. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much.
Will do.